Huh. How about that? This is Real Talk presented by Capital One. And we're going to talk for real, Christy Winters-Scott. We got to talk about the physical element of basketball and how that can take a team that's already talented. You need talent, but it can take a talented team from a good level to a great one. And what better example can we have between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics? Because not just this series, Christy, historically, Heat-Celtics, it's been physical, it's been intense, it's been a little petty, it's been nasty. Now, last night it wasn't that. It was very physical. And I just wonder, for somebody who's played the game and you've seen the different levels of intensity and how it can push a team to places where that team maybe didn't expect to go, I wonder just the effect of it, where you've seen the effect positively on a contending or championship team.
Well, you can say X's and O's make a difference all you want to, but it is the skill and the will. And when it comes down to it, that third quarter for Boston, I mean, they just let it happen without any punchback. And that's why they're down now in the series 0-1. And when you have a team like Miami who thrives on Jimmy Butler playing great, I mean, when Jimmy Butler plays great in the playoffs, they do well, right? Last year, they get swept. He didn't play well. And it makes a difference when you have that mindset. So, yes, it comes down to physicality. Yes, it comes down to the outside of people and getting into shoulders and bumping into bodies. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a mentality. And if you make a shot and you bump into somebody, that counts too as some kind of an ego boost. And it's not a foul, right? Or you just look at somebody like, I got you. Or you block a shot like Jason Tatum got his shot blocked. And don't taunt him or anything, but there's an eyeballing that goes on in postseason. There's an eyeballing that goes on that speaks 1,000 words, and Jimmy Butler was saying probably 1,000,000 of those after that block. So there's a lot going on, and it's not just tactical, it's not just strategic, but it's very, very mental, and you have to be on point or you're going home.
Yeah, all right. So let me ask you this, because I know you've coached.
Yeah.
How do you tell a team to be physical, but also to avoid fouls? Like, especially young teams. Like, if you're like in the NBA, they clearly the referees are complicit in this, and I say that in a good way, because they call the game different in the postseason. Whether they want to acknowledge that or not, they call the game different. Like, you can't do this in the regular season. But if you're coaching a young team, high school, college, and you say, I want you to be physical, maybe a young basketball player is like, well, okay, does she want me to hit somebody? Does she want me to, how do you teach the difference between physical clean as opposed to physical, it ain't even basketball anymore. Now you're playing football on a basketball court.
Well, that's such a great question, Mike, because first of all, I think for me as a coach, I know that teams came at our team with some level of physicality and trying to impose their will that way because we were fast and we may have been a little taller, or that was their advantage to get under us when we're shooting, pull our hair out with no foul being called, raking nails across the neck, no call. Going through a whole entire game with just one free throw in a game that's that physical in the postseason. That has happened, and no blame on the officials. I mean, we've got to get to the rim. You got to sell it or whatever. But there have been instances where, it's not necessarily telling the kids to match the intensity. And I think the aggressiveness sometimes gets taken out of context, where it's just about physical and almost alluding to what I was saying. When you are aggressive, that's physical. But that's physical minded, right? I'm not telling anybody to hurt anybody or come up under anybody. I never gave or give instructions to get up under and hurt someone, right? But I've seen it happen to our kids. And it's really all I can do sometimes. I mean, sometimes I have had to go out there and say, hey, we're not going to have this shenanigans because that's not basketball. I've had a kid on the ground and then someone come and horse collar on the floor, on the ground, not even seeing it coming.
Wow.
and just land on my kid. And my kid gets a technical for turning around saying, hey, what's going on? And it's a common foul on the other situation. So I've seen it all when it comes to that. I've seen my son's game, the other coach, they're down 10 with a minute to go, Mike. And he's like, foul him hard. And that kid cracked him with the elbow in the face. Both sides of his nose were bleeding.
Whoa.
So I've seen it. So there has to be some clarification and some, specifics when it comes to, hey, play physical basketball. Because I don't think all the time that it's a physical instruction that's being given. Physical doesn't mean like elbow somebody. Physical means get in their head and take it to them, attack the basket, set hard, good, solid, legal screens.
I was just going to say that. That's it.
Legal screen and get busy. And then if we're getting out physical, it's like, oh, you're just going to let them do that? And then you challenge character. And again, it's not tactical, but you challenge character. You're just going to stand by. I mean, we're in the postseason. We're getting ready to go home. And they're at our house, if that's the case. And they're coming in here, with the TV remote, eating a sandwich and leaving crumbs everywhere. And we don't care about that. That's disrespectful. Like, we got to step up. Like, we got to go. So for me, it's not necessarily go and hurt somebody, but it is step up your mentality and be in attack mode within the rules. That's the deal.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think, bringing it back to Heat-Celtics and how they keep running into each other, I think both of them, both organizations have had that mentality. Now, I will say, and we had Chris Herring, the author of Blood in the Garden, on the show earlier this week. So Chris Herring is writing about Pat Riley's New York Knicks, and that's a great title, Blood in the Garden, because, okay, I thought they were dirty. Now, I thought the Knicks, the 90s Knicks, were a dirty team. And Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley and Starks. Yeah. I just didn't like the way they played. And I know Pat Riley's philosophy, because Doc Rivers played for him. Doc Rivers told me this. His philosophy was, hey, you never know how far you can go if you don't foul. You can't leave a game with 3 fouls. Don't leave a game with 3 fouls. You better go ahead and push it. And they can't call everything. So that's one mentality. But I think in South Florida, what he has done, he has built in this organization and trickles down to Spoelstra, is that they're well-conditioned. They do all those things that you just mentioned. They have an aggressive mentality. They set hard screens. They never quit. They keep coming at you. They are mentally tough. So I think that's the stuff that and Jimmy Butler really embodies that, doesn't he? I think that travels no matter where you play.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't think that having Udoka and Spoelstra as friends from when they were teenagers, that factored into it? I mean, all of it factors in. I don't care. They could say like, oh, no, I've just known them since my teenage years. But, I mean, we're out here. It's a different time. Come on. We know what it is. We know it's a challenge. We know that those coaches want to compete just as hard as the players do. But when you have a player like Jimmy Butler, who I think this whole entire series hinges upon how consistent he can be. I mean, he had a 41-point performance last night. I mean, if he can bring that level of consistent and efficient basketball, I mean, what did he get to the line, 18 times? I mean, he is in full attack mode. Can he stay that way? Can he continue to bring that energy and that level of competitiveness to the court night in and night out? And if that's the case, I mean, initially before this series started, I was saying Celtics because of their momentum. I was saying Celtics in 6 or 7, but now with Al Horford, health and safety protocols, I'm like, Lord have mercy. And now Marcus Smart and his right foot, Lord have mercy. That makes it a little more difficult because those two guys were on one at the end of the season. And that's why the team had the momentum that they did. So now with the Heat coming in and playing like that in Miami, and Jimmy Butler, like I said, just coming in, just swinging for the fences. Oh my God, I don't know. I might have to change my prediction, Mike. I don't know.
Ooh, after one game?
I'm a little nervous about it. How long is Al out? How long is he out?
Yeah. See, Christy, that's your bias coming out. The rebounder says, how long is Al out? That's how you're thinking.
That's right. Where is he at? Need Al. Okay, where is he? How long is he out? And then when he comes back, is he going to miss a beat? Is he going to be out of condition? If he's out minimum 5 days, right? With health and safety protocols, 2 negative tests.
That's
is
right.
what the requirements are. So, I mean, how bad is he feeling? And how bad will he feel when he comes back, stepping into an environment where it could be elimination games in front of him? Come on now, let's talk about that. We don't know.
Listen, hey, Christy, I think they're there right now. Not eliminated. Yeah. Obviously, they won't be eliminated if they lose game 2, but I just feel like they need, you go down zip 2 to Miami. Ooh, it's just really going to be tough. They're not going to be that kind of team that that just chokes. So anyway, I want to get your take on something else. Because I'm always interested in pro athletes, and you're one of them. Pro athletes, they see a different game. They have a different type of insight than the rest of us. We look at it outside looking in, and we can be perceptive on the outside looking in, but there's just a whole new level of understanding when you've been in the game, you played it, and then you step outside and look at it. So I go back and forth on this. Patrick Beverley is an NBA player. He's an active NBA player, but he's out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to say lately. I want you to take a listen to Patrick Beverley and then Monty Williams talking about Patrick Beverley's comments.
See what he's talking about.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
Burr.
Yeah.
Burr. So Christy, all right, there are a lot of threads to pull on there. First of all, that was Patrick Beverley on ESPN's First Take. So he's going. I think he was on Get Up at that point. He's on Get Up, and look, he doesn't. I remember Patrick Beverley last year as the Lakers were eliminated, or was it the Clippers? Anyway, I think it was the Clippers. I think it was the Clippers where he goes and pushes him. He pushes Chris Paul at the end of that Clippers loss.
Sure
and
did.
So there's something personal there, clearly, with Beverley and Paul. So should we say, do we dismiss what Patrick Beverley has to say because he's not on Chris Paul's level? Do we dismiss it because he's out of the playoffs? Do we dismiss it because it's personal? Or do we have to consider the commentary and say, hey, look, man, the guy's played against Chris Paul. Maybe he's just saying stuff that we're not willing to accept. How do you view this?
We dismiss it because Patrick Beverley is out of the playoffs. Like, why are you throwing stones at your brethren? That's your dude. What are you doing? I don't like it. And Stephen A. Smith, that's my guy. Stephen A. Smith, I like you a lot, But he kept fanning the fire, and he was pulling all out of Pat Bev. Like, he knew that he was like, his voice got a couple octaves higher. He was like, he's a cold. And his voice went up, and Stephen A. was like, so he can't play defense? I was like, oh my God, you're fanning him. You're giving him that. And I don't know. I don't like hate. Right? You need to respect every player. And I see, Shaq and Kenny and Chuck and Ernie, they're not playing right now. So they can have, I think, stronger opinions. When you're still playing, I just think it's like extremely disrespectful to the game, right? Not just to Chris Paul, but that's disrespectful to the game. And so I give credit to Monty Williams for saying, I'm not going to get grimy with you and wrestle in the mud about you throwing stones or pushing in the back one of the best players ever to play in the league, like ever. Are we talking ever? I mean, he's the Olympian. Right. He's done so many things. And when you talk about, the championships, I was talking about Shaq and Kenny and Chuck, they have gold medals and championship rings. Patrick Beverley, I appreciate the dog in you. You're a junkyard
His
dog.
hustle.
You
Right.
You take pride in your defense. I get it. So maybe he's looking at it from his perspective as a dog defensively because that's your role. That's why you're in the league, right? To come up under people, bother them, disrupt them, shove them. Okay, when you get upset, which I don't agree with. We're not condoning violence, but I mean that's what we've seen. So it's not like we're making that up. Like you've done that, so own that. But that doesn't give you the right to throw stones at Chris Paul. And Chris Paul hasn't said anything about it, as he shouldn't. Because when people talk behind your back, people talk behind your back because they're behind you for a reason. And I'm going to put a pin in that and continue.
Ooh,
That's
I like it. I like it. There you go.
I respect Patrick Beverley. I respect the game, but I don't respect stuff like that. I can't do it.
People, what'd you say? People talk behind your back because they're behind you.
For a reason. They're behind you, right?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
He didn't say it to his face.
I like it. I like it, Christy. Behind his back. But then he did say it on national TV, though.
He did, but it wasn't like personally to his face, like, hey, Chris Paul, hey, my guy, grip him up and say, you know what, you're a cone on defense. He would never do that to his face. And I would hope he wouldn't do that. I'm not going to say never because, he said what he said on national TV.
Because, you don't know.
I'm not going to
Christy,
I don't like it.
I love it. I love our conversations. This has been Real Talk, brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Christy, playoffs are just, the conference finals are just getting started. We got Warriors, Mavericks tonight. Celtics, Heat, Game 2. Tomorrow night, you'll have to come back as these playoffs unfold. We'll have our more of our real conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.